Welcome to another episode of Real BMX Racing, the podcast. Today's show is sponsored by the #1 BMX starting gate, ProStart, Answer BMX, BMX Connect, and Thormax. Today's guest is USA BMX Women's Pro Keiley Shea. Keiley, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Welcome. So I guess my first question is, before Shannon jumps, is how close was your name to that?
It actually was right. I was very surprised. It was correct.
I was like, I know they're butchering that up, but they're going to go with it. Let's just ride.
Actually gets it much better than most announcers.
Okay.
So
I butcher it. It was up to me. I butcher it. Oh my God. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah. Especially when you get older, you're just like, what's your first initial? B? I'm going to call you B.
Yeah. What's up, B? Too much easier.
Right? What's up, B? All right, Shannon, go ahead and jump us off. Let's roll.
All right. So out of all the sports in this world that you could be playing and participating in, why BMX?
I started because my older brother, so I didn't really have, I was going to have to try it eventually because he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think the thing that I really like about it is you have a lot of control over what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of get in the game, when you're racing, it's only really up to you. And I think I kind of like that aspect of you put in the work and you get to see the results, and you are pretty much fully in, there's obviously a lot of luck in BMX, but that also kind of makes it fun. But you get to really control what you're doing, which I think is what I really like about it.
Have you played any other team sports? Any team sports?
I did volleyball for a year or two in middle school, and that was really fun. I had a lot of fun with it, but I just never really took it seriously.
Okay.
And then when I was younger, I did karate, but that's an individual sport for 7 years.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
So you can kick some ass.
Right.
So when did you start BMX?
I started when I was 6, I think pretty soon after I turned 6, but I'd been going to the track since I was 2.
So why did it take so long for you to jump in?
I was terrified of the gate. The gate scared me. And even when I started racing, I would do third and last straights for 2 weeks.
Was it the sound of the gate, the position of the gate, the height?
I think it was the sound. That's what, I don't really remember that. That's what my mom tells me.
And I asked that because I volunteer at my local track, usually on the nights where the newbies show up. And that's what scares the kids. So the gate sound alone. Yeah. So sometimes we'll sit them next to the gate and drop it a few times just so they could get familiar with the sound and let them know, there's nothing scary about this. It's just the noise. And, so sometimes the gate goes down and I can see them shake a little bit. It's
yeah.
So I get it.
Okay, so one of the things I was going to ask is, do you remember your first racing bike?
I do. It's actually still a rental bike at my home track. Nice. It was, I don't know how to describe it very well, but it was a red and white red line. And it was where the red faded with lines into the white.
Yep.
It was pretty cool. 6-year-old.
I was going to guess red line too. I was let me guess red line. I don't know why, but I feel like that's always one of the first ones that people start going on.
Yeah.
And we usually ask if you still have the bike, but obviously you don't have the bike.
No, but I still get to see it sometimes, which is nice.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Just remember when you get to be our age in about 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to be like, I should have kept that bike.
Well, it's gotten its use out of it. I'm glad.
Totally.
It gets used all the time, so I'm happy.
There you go. So what proficiency or class are you racing right now?
I just turned to the Women Pro class in the USA BMX series this year. So Rock Hill was my first race.
There we go. I wasn't sure if you finished your first year or if you were on your first year.
Yeah, this is my first year.
So with that being said, and I guess, you obviously watch the pros, growing up, watching them, how they race and how often they race. Being that it took a little bit longer for the pro series to actually start this year, did that feel like it was more, you were able to put more practice in, thinking about how it would have been before?
I think it was good for me just to kind of be able to have the time to really adjust and be able to be instead of like versus last year when they start like the first pro round was in January, and it's like I know from my friends that went pro last year, it was just like such a quick turnaround. And it was like you race grands and amateur, and then a month later you're racing supercross, and like that's a lot.
Right.
So I was kind of glad that I had the opportunity to just kind of take a step back and just like build and kind of like just like level myself and figure everything out.
Yeah, definitely.
I was really grateful.
How much were you able to prepare for this, like, you know, leading up to this, like even a couple of years into it? Were you hitting the big hills? Were you training with some pros? Were you know?
Yeah, so I've been hitting supercross. I think I hit my first supercross hill when I was 14. But that was Louisville, so it doesn't really count. And then for a little bit, they had Beijing open to the public during my first year in the junior elite class. So I was able to go down there a couple times. But I won junior national champion in 2022, my first year junior. So that gave me a lot of opportunities to kind of train with the girl pros and kind of be around in that scene. I remember like my first year junior, I went to Tulsa and crashed into the wall. So I've had some experiences, but yeah, I've been able to train on the big hill. And then a lot of the reason I chose to go to school in Houston was so I would have a supercross hill to be able to ride. So it was yes. I only applied to schools that were by supercross hills.
Smart. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
How was an hour, right?
I was going to say, how was it looking down the 8 meter the first time you were up there?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I went the first time with my brother when my brother was training in Beijing, and I was like still a kid. Oh, I was terrified. I was like, nah, never, ever, ever, nope, not for me, no. So yeah, it's scary, and it's I think the scariest part, which it's not at every 8 meter, like Rock Hill's not like this. But Houston is, where it's like you don't see anything from the kink to the floor or to the ground. Like you don't see the transition, because like on steeper transitions you just can't see it.
It just drops.
It just drops, and that was just like I was just like, oh.
Wow, like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bro. I've been up on the big hill without my bike. Just to walk up to see how scary it was, and it's like terrifying.
Yeah.
At Rock Hill is the one I walked up, and I'm like, no way, man. Just my heart was beating just walking up there, thinking like I'm about to race or something, even though I knew I wasn't. But it's just halfway up there, you're looking around, you're like, oh my God, bro, I'm only halfway up this hill, you know. And then you walk all the way up, and you're looking around, and you can see everything.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to Tulsa, I was like, are they sure this is 8 meters? It's feeling more like 9. I feel like I'm really dying here.
It looks huge.
So, do you have a coach?
I do. So I'm coached by Christian Besserine. I've been training with him since about 2020. He's helped me a lot. So, I mean, I work with Tyler. Obviously, I'm sponsored by his team, and he's always super helpful. But my main coach is Christian Besserine.
So you had the same coach for 5 years. Really, that's cool.
Yeah, I started training with him just like he did clinics at my track, and I mean, I needed some help with my skills, and he was able to really, really help me. So, and then I think it was 2023 where I went on like full program with him.
But how long have you been in Texas?
I'm a freshman in college, so I've just been here since August. I mean, I went home for January and December, but I've been here not too long. So.
Okay. So wait, so how old are you right now?
I'm 19.
19. All right. So take us back, I guess 5 years ago at this point, when COVID hit. How did that affect you with racing?
I honestly think for me personally, I think it kind of helped me. It gave me kind of a really good chance to work on my skills. And I think that's something that now in my racing, kind of like when I was still racing amateur, that was kind of a big thing that I was good at in comparison. So I started like really getting good at my skills in 2019, but then I really was able to practice them in 2020. And I was able to hang out with my friends and my family to kind of rebuild my local track in 2020, which was really, really fun.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that was just such a cool experience. And then I was able to just race so much after everything opened up, which I was really grateful for.
Definitely. With this, so what would you say the biggest difference between racing 16 and racing 17 to 20X?
I don't know if you guys like watched the girls class, but when I was in 15, 16, it was a bloodbath. We had like quarters at so many nationals, and it would be quarters where it'd be like a 5-man quarter with 5 people from the Grands Main. And it was chaos. It was so much chaos, and I loved it. I never did I like getting 6th consistently? No. But when I look back at it now, it's like I was able to develop so much as a racer. And I think just kind of by the time we got into 1720,
you were ready.
A lot of girls had quit, which was kind of disappointing. But
Right.
I think the benefit of 1720 was we all had kind of grown up. And so there wasn't as much just immature of just like that wasn't necessary to happen type stuff happening, which was really nice. I mean,
Right.
So just like the maturity of everyone, and everyone had kind of grown up a little bit and been like, you know what, it's not that deep. I don't have to hate you. I feel like everyone in 1720 was a little bit more friendly. So I was really appreciative of that.
Okay.
So you have like when you go to these races, like nationals, whatever, you have friends that are there that you see probably just the nationals. What's your oldest friend? Like who have you known the longest?
My oldest friend is Alexis Alden in BMX.
Okay.
She's been on here before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And we've been friends since she had just started. I think I was 8 and she was 6. We both lived in Southern California, but she moved to Georgia in 2019.
Okay.
But yeah, she's been my best friend for most of my life.
That's awesome.
Okay. So with that being said, when you guys are racing, practicing against each other, who's faster?
Usually she is. I think she definitely has more brunt speed than me, but I'm able to get her sometimes just by passing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Who works on your bike?
A lot of times it's not me. I'm not very good at working on my bike.
Right,
So a lot of time, I mean, when I was little, it was always my mom. She was always the one coming with me to races. But a lot of times, it's actually Alexis's dad who's helping me out, like at the races. Who's like, "Hey, this is rattling. I don't know what it is. Please help." And then my boyfriend works at a bike shop, so now he's kind of taken on that role when I'm with him. So
when was the point where it got serious for you? Like you start racing, it's fun, then you start getting better, then you start winning, and then it's like the pressure might be put on you by somebody. Was there a lot of pressure put on you by anybody? And when did it become serious for you?
There was never much pressure put on me, which I was really grateful for. My mom always just told me to go out and do my best. And I mean, my brother put pressure on me, but like that was just normal sibling, don't suck. So
right.
I mean, I know he wanted me just to succeed, so he pushed me to be better, but there was never any like pressure. I never would be like feel bad and feel like I let people down if I did bad. There was never any of that, which I'm really grateful for.
That's cool.
I think I kind of started getting really serious about BMX probably when I turned like in 2020. I think that's when I was like, okay, like I actually am getting kind of good at this. I always wanted to do well when I was younger, and I always worked hard to do well, but it never really clicked of like, okay, I have to like work really hard. So I think when I was 15 is probably when the switch, or 14, 15 is when the switch flipped.
So we know you can be as fast as you want to be, you can be as good as you want to be, but it's looking like if you're not jumping, you're not going to be competitive out there at the pro level. How old were you when you realized like, you got to incorporate that, or was that jumping something you've always done? It came easy to you, or was it like something you had to work on?
It was definitely something I'm still working on today, just because I don't have the best jumping form, but I'm working on it. When I was little, I would jump like little things. I think there's a video of me and Ava Corley like trying to whip when we were like 9 or 10 years old. It's pretty funny. I still look at that video and laugh. But I think I started trying to like jump bigger stuff when I was like 12, and then I crashed pretty bad and was like, I'm never doing any skills ever again. I'm keeping my wheels on the ground. And then in 2019, me and Alexis, actually, we started working with Danny George. She was a pro. She's sweet and amazing. And she really taught us, like, she really worked on our skills a lot. And I didn't really realize the importance of it and how much of an advantage it really gave me until I was able to like really implement in my racing and be like, hey, I could jump this jump and none of them can. Actually, I think the first time that happened was Houston in 2019. They had like this first straight where you had to jump all 3 jumps. And I think it was like me and like maybe 2 or 3 other girls that were able to do it. And so it was normally girls that at another track, they were faster than me. They were able to beat me. And then at this track, they couldn't jump and I could. So it was such an advantage for me. And that's when it kind of clicked of like, okay, this is very valuable to have.
Right.
Well, it seems at that point, like when women become pros, I mean, we've heard this. That's kind of what separates them. Like I mean, I've heard pros say they're not going to race the series that has the bigger jumps.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you don't have to, I guess, and just because they just choose not to. Like the jumps are scary. Like that hill is just no joke. And if you've fallen on it before, you know, it might even be harder to get back up there and do it. And I get it. And like I said, I've been up there. If I wasn't up there, I probably wouldn't understand. I'm like, you guys race. It's only 3 meters more. What is it? Yeah, 5 and 8, right?
Yeah.
But that 3 meters is like, oh my God,
it's
man.
A lot. Yeah, I mean, there's some girls, but it all makes sense. And like, my goal is to be able to race everything. I want to race the World Cups. I want to try and go to the Olympics. So that's just where I have to set my goals to be. So
nice. So where have you raced outside of the U.S.?
I've raced in Canada a couple times. I would race there growing up, just because it was usually cheaper for me to go up from California than to go east. Right. But that's not like truly international. So I mean it is, but it's not like I've ever raced the world championships there. It was just like USA BMX nationals in Canada. Right. So my first like really big international races, I went to Scotland in 2023 and I raced worlds there as a second year junior. So that was so cool. I loved that whole experience. And then actually just like I just got home last week. Me and a couple of my friends with USA Cycling all went down to Chile and got to race there.
Very cool.
So that was such a cool experience. I loved it.
I watched some of that because I saw Drew Polk down there and I was like, hold on, there must be some more Americans down there racing. So yeah, I started watching it. That was really cool.
So I guess this is where it comes between what separates the pros and what separates the party animals. How did you manage to stay focused going into another country and not being like, I need to live up this moment right now?
I think it's just a lot of balance. Like I'm the type of person where I could focus when I need to focus, but I don't see the benefit of being super locked in like the whole trip. Like that would just stress me out. So right. I'm the type of person where it's like, I need to go, I need to have fun, and I need to avoid thinking about what I'm doing. And then when I need to focus, I'm going to focus. So kind of my thing is just like when I'm at the track, when I'm at practice, like that's when I really need to focus. But other than that, like I do want to enjoy the experience. I want to have fun with my friends. I want to like do, I mean, we didn't walk around too much just because like we didn't really have time. But it's just kind of like that mentality of like when I'm at the track, then I kind of mean business, but outside of that, I want to enjoy the experience.
So even like locally, when you go to a track, how are you? Are you nervous? Do you still get nervous like going to the track and getting up on the gate, or are you?
I get nervous when it's really windy, but other than that, no, not really. I'm just trying to focus on all the things that I need to improve on and trying to be as close to perfect as possible every effort. So that usually just I don't really get nervous much anymore.
I just noticed the riders that show up to the track and are loose and have fun and don't take it too serious until that moment, like you said. I think they end up doing better just because they end up doing better. They ride a little looser. They're having fun. They're like not too tense and like not too focused. You could be too focused,
Yeah, I definitely think having fun is just such an advantage because you get to have the fun nerves instead of the oh my gosh nerves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I always try to do it. And sometimes I could tell that I bother some people in my class because I'm an older guy and they're like, oh my God, like chill out, bro. And I'm up there dancing, singing. I'm like, bro, come on, like loosen up, man. We're having fun. It's not that serious at our age, especially, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a nervous talker. So usually recently Alexis, we've been racing each other. So we would talk to each other in the pit, or I would just like lean over a chute and be talking to her because she's the same way, where it's just like, I can't sit back here and think about everything I need to do, or I'm just going to be too nervous and too worked up. So I got to just relax everything.
Have you ever raced and talked while you were racing?
Yes.
Just like just having fun. Like, yo, go, bro. Watch out. I'm coming in. Or...
Yeah. I've definitely been like, yo, chill before, or I've been like, just go.
Right.
Or like little things where I was like, I mean, whenever I get sketchy, there's a couple of videos of me being like, like mid jump, because I was like, oh, that was sketchy. So yeah, I'll talk while I'm racing sometimes.
And are you able to hear what's going on when you race? Like the announcers, the crowds, the other riders, maybe like a hub or something. Can you hear what's going on? Or do you just like everything is just kind of
yes and no. Yes and no. Like it depends how focused I am. In first round, or like some things I'll hear a lot more, but then when I'm like really, really focused, I don't really hear anything. Sometimes I'll hear my mom, but
nice.
I noticed when I used to race when I was younger, like depending on the announcer, like you could kind of gauge what's going on in the race, like behind you, or you know, like because the announcer's letting you know, like, oh, it's a close race, or he's coming up, or he's making a move, and it's like, oh no, he's not making a move on me, you know. And,
right.
Yeah, there's some people I was a little more nervous to hear were behind me than others, so I would listen sometimes.
Yeah.
So was your mom the one always yelling pedal, pedal, pedal?
No, she's just kind of, go, Keiley, go.
See, that's so much better than telling a kid to pedal, bro. Like, I'm watching the live stream from my track last night. There was this one guy screaming at the top of his lungs, yo, just to pedal, pedal, pedal. And I'm like, bro, your kid's pedaling, man. Just tell him something else. And that's me. I'm like, go, like, you know,
and you're
push
like,
it, or
you can't pedal in that spot. Why are you yelling it right there? You can't pedal in that spot.
Yeah, they're halfway through the rhythm section. Pedal.
Pedal.
Well, and that too, you know, or like you go to track meets and tell people to run. Like, come on, bro, stop it.
Tell them to run. Run. Right. So okay, so what bike are you racing with now?
I'm on a red Chase. I think it's beautiful. I love that bike so much. So it's really nice.
Is it carbon?
It is the carbon Chase. I remember my bike that I rode before was a DK, and it was an aluminum DK, but the DKs just tend to be heavier, and I didn't really have like any carbon parts on there. So it was like I got on my Chase that was like a whole carbon frame and carbon wheels, and I remember I went and jumped something, flat landed it so bad just because it was like so much lighter than what I was riding before.
Right.
And I really like it. I mean, it was weird to get used to the carbon because I'd never ridden carbon before, but once I was used to it, it was so great.
It's super stiff, right, compared to aluminum?
Yeah. So, but I really like it.
Now, as far as tire pressure, do you go rock hard, or do you push some air out of it?
I'm more on the rock hard side when I remember to pump up my tires. But well, I mean, they're always pumped up, but sometimes it'll be like 2-3 weeks and I'll check them and they're at like 45 or 50, and I'm like, oopsie.
Right.
But I try, when I pump them up, I pump them to like 80, 85. So
do you run the lighter tubes in your bike? Like
no, I just run tubes.
All right. Some of those tend to leak air faster than regular tubes. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
And what size bike are you on? Do you know?
I'm on a Pro Double XL.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty tall. I'm 5'9", so.
Oh, there we go.
That was my next question.
That makes sense. Okay. Wait a minute. 5'9". Who do I know that's 5'9"? Shannon, how tall are you?
I knew it, man. I knew you were gonna go here, man. I knew it. Let me put my seat up, man. I feel taller now.
Straighten the posture.
Yeah, you know?
Right? Like, there it is. Oh, question. How old were you or are you able to beat your brother?
I still can't really.
Does he still ride?
No, not really, which kind of makes it worse. He got hurt a lot. I mean, I probably could beat him in like a full lap. I honestly haven't raced him in a really long time, but I know if he hopped on his bike, he'd definitely be able to like do a lot more skills and fun stuff than I can.
Right.
I think actually I rode with him I think over the summer at some point, and I could pull him to 30-foot line and then he'd get me back.
Really?
I was very sad. I was hopeful. I thought I could.
I was hopeful.
Was he clipped in?
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Do you ever ride flats?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you ever throw flats on your bike?
I do sometimes. I'm not the greatest at them, but I know it's important to just getting your foundationals and your fundamentals down. So I do probably not as often as I should, but I do sometimes. It's pretty fun. It's fun to just do something different.
So when you started, did you start on flats?
Yeah.
And
so I was on flats.
How quick was it before you went to clips?
I think about a year. So, because I didn't really care to go fast for a while, so I didn't really care too much about winning. I just pedaled my bike in my little twinkle toe light up shoes. So, and then I remember when I did, so that was before girls went intermediate. So we went straight from novice to, it wasn't even girl expert. It was just called girl, which was really awkward to explain to people sometimes. Because they'd be like, oh, what class are you? Girl. Yeah, I know you're a girl. No, the class is girl.
Class is girl.
Really?
But I think I was on flats for about a year before I went to clips. So not too long.
You were young when you went on clips. So you were
I was only like 7.
time before they changed the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So when they changed the rule, were you on clips? Like, were you at that age? I'm trying to
I think I was 15 or 14.
Okay. So you already passed the...
So you were able to stay on clips. You didn't have to back off of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the big difference between clips and flats that you could feel?
I think just kind of being able to cheat a little bit, the jumps and how you jump and how you manual, you're able to get away with a lot more on clips and a lot of more like little form imperfections that you can't get away with on flats. They're just blown up. So it's good. It's good to ride flats just to kind of expose your weaknesses and see what you need to fix. So.
Do you have any other types of bikes, like a park bike, a mountain bike, dirt jumper? Or...
Not me personally, but my school, they have a lot of road biking around. So I use some of their road bikes sometimes.
Okay.
So.
What do you do in your downtime?
I don't have a lot of downtime. I usually, when I'm in my downtime, I'm trying to sleep or I'm trying to spend time with my friends. I love trying new places to go eat. That's really something I like to do. And I like to just like spend time and watch shows with my friends. So, but I'm an engineering student and a full-time athlete. I don't have a lot of free time.
Wow. I was about to say how you managed to pull both of those off, but wow.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
I can only imagine.
Does your boyfriend ride?
Yeah, he does.
Does he race?
Yeah, he's from Toronto, so he races for Canada.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Can you beat him?
I was about to ask that.
I wish. But no. It would be really funny if I did, though. I would never live it down.
Sure.
Right? What's your favorite movie?
That's a hard question. I love watching all movies. I'm a sucker for like a good rom-com. But I think most prevalent for like me with racing is I love watching Cars. That whole trilogy. That's actually why I picked my number to be 95. So I was like, I'm going to be Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
I don't have any other number that's like super special to me, so let me be Lightning McQueen.
That's pretty cool.
If there was no BMX, what sport would you be playing?
Ooh, I've actually thought about this. I always kind of wanted to try rugby. It just seemed very fun. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be big enough or strong enough to be good at it, but it just seemed like it would be fun. I always liked that, and I always liked volleyball. The year I did play, I was like, oh, I could have had a lot of fun with that. So,
Do you spend a lot of time training?
I do train a lot. I usually am training like 6 days a week for like some days it's just sprints, so that only takes me like an hour, and then some days it's like a long gym and then long sprints, so that'll take or like a long track session, so that it'll be like up to 4 hours. So it just kind of depends.
Okay.
Yeah, Everett, how much do you train?
Training is for suckers, son. You get to be my age, it's just you're just either a natural or you're not, dude. So, but do you do a lot of plyometrics?
I definitely should be doing more than what I do. I need to. I've been working on it, but I just haven't like fully committed. I'm gonna try and get access to the athletes gym, because just like the normal gym just has not really anything for plyos. So I just do a lot of cleans and a lot of explosive like lifts.
Right.
But
right.
I'm not really able to do as much plyos as I want to.
Right.
So I should try and I need to stop being lazy and putting it off and try and get access to the athletes gym.
There you go.
How often do you get to the track?
I try and get out there at least twice a week. So probably usually Mondays and Saturdays, because last semester I was doing Mondays and Thursdays, but this semester I have night classes on Thursdays. So now it's kind of Mondays and Saturdays, but I try and get out at least twice a week. Sometimes it rains or stuff like that, and that's just out of my control, but.
Right.
And do you have like a program? Does your coach come like train you at the track, or do you have like a program that you go by that you make sure you fulfill every time you get there, or like a certain amount of starts, a certain amount of straights, a certain amount,
I have a program.
Okay.
So when I'm back home, I go and ride with him once a week at my home track, but out here it's just off a program.
Okay.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, I mean, I'm a little biased, but I love some good barbecue. It's the best part about living here.
I was going to say, you are in the right place for that.
I'm in the right place.
Oh my God, how are you?
So
nice. What is does your meal prep or anything like that into like your season? Does that get involved, like what you're eating in your on season versus your off season?
I definitely should be doing that, but I definitely don't. Honestly, I eat at the school cafeteria or so a lot of the time, because to live on campus you have to have a meal plan. So I'm like, well, I already paid for it.
Yeah. Especially when you're a freshman, yeah.
Yeah. So I already paid so I just try and eat what's like the healthiest thing that's edible from there most days.
Right.
I mean, your friends, are they athletes too?
No, not. I mean, I have a couple friends that are athletes for the school, but
okay.
Most like 50-50. Some of my friends are athletes, some aren't. So
I'm just thinking it might be hard hanging with some guys that are not athletes, because they're over there just eating, doing whatever, Meanwhile, you trying to watch what you intake,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can just go and grab what you want.
Now on race day, are you eating at all, or like do you have to force yourself, or you good to go, or how does that work out for you?
When I was little or when I was younger, I'd get nervous and it would be hard for me to eat. But now I just eat throughout the day and like I'm fine. Anytime I have like a break, I'm trying to just eat as much as I can, because something I think it was Felicia when I was just like a junior. I remember she had told me that she's like, if you feel hungry, it's too late on a race day. She's like, and if you feel like super thirsty, it's too late. Like you're already dehydrated, you're already depleted. So you can't let yourself get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm really hungry. And that's kind of what sense. I try and prevent.
Yeah. See, that's what I've been telling these people, but nobody want to listen to me when I say it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, a lot of people just try and race off an empty stomach, but for me, I just feel like I'm gonna die.
Right.
Well, nobody takes his advice, because we've seen him eat double cheeseburgers in between motos. So,
like I said,
hey, food is food. Fuel is fuel.
Right. There's the meat. There's the cheese. Like, man, what are you talking about? That's like, it's good to go.
It's the race. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, I'm a frequent visitor of the taco trucks at Nationals. Oh, it's so good. It's great.
No doubt.
Taco truck at the Nationals. I need to know about that. I don't know.
I mean, it's not like, I feel like just a lot of nationals, they have just like the street taco truck, and it's great.
Yeah.
Well, if I would have seen that at Rock Hill, I would have definitely got some tacos. I think
They
that
weren't
one.
there this year.
Well, I would have saw them if they were, and I would have definitely.
I was so upset because I think it was there the last time I was there, and I got tacos like every day because they were really good.
Okay. How often does your boyfriend races? How often does he go to the races with you, or do you guys like just meet up there, or?
We kind of try and like coordinate with that. I mean, he just turned pro this year as well, so I mean that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, every once in a while, I'll fly up to Canada, or he'll fly to where I'm at. So it kind of is like 50-50 balance.
And so he's on the pro circuit down here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rock Hill was his first pro race too. So.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was happy.
I was gonna say, so how did you feel knowing that the 30-foot line is gone for you?
It didn't really make much of a difference, because, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be times where you get cut off and you get pinched, but it's like, even on the USA BMX series, it's like the 30-foot rule, like it wasn't truly enforced unless like someone unclipped or someone fell. So it's all kind of the same idea in all reality. Like it didn't matter too much to me. Like I don't love getting cut off halfway, like right out of the start off the 8-meter. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but like it's gonna happen. So it's either like you just deal with it or you don't, but you don't really have a choice not to deal with it. So
True.
That's why I love watching the riders that you could tell they get cut off. They know there's nowhere to go, but they still stay calm. And they just, do what they can to find other lines, or just, just play the whole race smarter than they probably wanted to. But, that's just what happens sometimes.
Yeah, you just got to do what you got to do. So.
Indeed. What's been your worst injury so far?
My worst injury, I think, was 2023. I broke my collarbone in 2 different spots. So it actually stayed straight enough. I didn't have to get surgery, but that one wasn't fun because I could feel it moving for so long. And it was really nasty.
Yeah, no, that's
breaking collarbones suck.
What track were you at when it happened?
I was at Oldsmar. I was racing Supercross at Oldsmar. So
I heard that track was
Are you did it mentally mess with you, or are you able to go back out there and kill
it? I was terrified. I mean, I still think about that crash sometimes too, where it's just like I just get nervous about like what other people around me are gonna do, and because like the crash was because of just like just racing situations and just things like that happening, and like so that always stuck in my head, and I would be so scared to be next to people off Supercross. So for a long time, I remember. So that was in like February of 2023, and it was like last few days of February, and I started riding again in like May, or start training again in May. Because again, it took so long to heal. It was so annoying. I was like, I should have just gotten this plated and ridden a month later, but whatever. But so I started training again in May, and then I went to Rock Hill for a few days because I knew like I was so scared of the 8-meter, and because I wanted to go to Worlds that year in Glasgow. And then I went to Tulsa pretty soon after I got home from Rock Hill. And I was so I refused to get in the gate with like any of the other elite girls. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. So, and then, I mean, in Scotland, I was just kind of like, you have no choice. You got to go. You're already here. So that kind of helped me of just being forced to do it. And then I ended up crashing over first jump in Scotland, which kind of.
You see that first jump was crazy.
Over again.
Right.
But I mean, I'm a lot better now, so it just took a long time.
So pretty much in every class, there's that one person that like everybody's nervous about just because they ride sideways. I mean, by the time you get pro, everybody should be skilled. But without saying any names, is there anybody in that class that is like known to just either take people out on purpose or accidentally? Like that, you get next to him in the gate and you're like, oh my God.
So look at her face. She's like, next question.
Yeah. No, I can say without saying names. You can just say yes or no. That's all.
Yes.
Got you. And all right, so another question along those lines. Are there any party animals in the group that you know about without saying any names?
Yes.
And do they still do good? Some of them?
Depends. The best ones aren't party animals.
Sure.
Because I've known a guy in the pros that is a party animal and still does good. Like when
I mean, it's just about balance. There's a difference between going and having fun like after you're done racing and just being like having fun after that and being like just messing yourself and just choosing to do stuff that's going to mess yourself up for the rest of the weekend. So I think it's about balance.
Yeah.
What's your favorite meal to make at home?
I like eating basic. I love just making like some vegetables. I love eating squash and like chicken and just having stuff like that. My favorite thing to make is tacos with my mom. I like tacos a lot, I guess. But I love making my mom's tacos at home. So
Nice.
with her.
When you go out and about when it's time to eat, what's your go-to spot?
Ooh. That's a tough question. I think my favorite like fast food is probably Chick-fil-A. But one of my favorite like restaurants that like I always go to like when I'm racing is I like eating Olive Garden or Texas Roadhouse. So
Okay.
Olive Garden seems to be big on the list.
What's that?
Olive Garden seems to be pretty big on the list.
And Chick-fil-A also, though, man.
What's your out of all the tracks that you've ridden? What's been your favorite track?
I liked Scotland a lot. That track was really cool. I like Rockstar a lot. I think it's really challenging in a lot of ways, but I think that's kind of good for me. I don't have like just like a track where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the favorite thing I've ever ridden. There's just like tracks where I'm like, okay, this is fun. I like it. And there's tracks where I'm like, I don't want to come here ever again. So.
Yeah, no. So being that you are new into the pro circuit and you've watched it for the last few years, who have you been anticipating racing against and lining up against them?
Like anticipating, like excited or anticipating? Yeah. I think all of the girls, I've looked up to them for so long. I remember when they first like did the junior woman class, I think in 2019, and I was watching like Mackenzie, Molly, Peyton, Lexi, like all of them racing that. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's what I want to do.
Right.
So I think being able to just race them when I've been looking up to them for so long is really cool. I remember it was my first round in Rock Hill, and they put me right next to Saya.
Oh,
I was like, this is so cool, but this is brutal.
Yeah, you should have talked some trash to her. Like
She's
for real,
so
just to
cute,
see what
though. It
she
was so
say. Like
fun.
she look at you like, yeah, right.
Yeah, who is this child?
I would have definitely
Should've
talked
been
some
like-
trash to her just to let
I
her
don't
know
know.
that
Like,
I'm
this-
here,
this-
bro. Like,
I
yeah,
just looked over like, this looks like your first year. Just follow me, kid.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man.
That's pretty cool. How tall is she? Isn't she pretty tall?
She's my height. Maybe
Okay.
she might be a little taller, or like, but she's my height.
Maybe because a lot of the girls and women in pro
You guys
are
are-
short, and some of them
Yeah.
like 5'1", 5'2". It's like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them, most of them are pretty short. I think Saya and Zoe Clayson's are probably the
Okay.
tallest ones.
Yeah, she looks tall also.
Do you know what size cranks you're running?
I run 175s. So
Yeah,
know.
I guess that'd be about right. Yeah.
I just think that's probably just
So
average.
then you know your setup. Like what size bars?
See, that one I don't know. I think there's 7 or 7.5.
Okay.
I haven't
Okay.
changed my bars in a long time, so I haven't had to buy new bars.
Do you change gears at all? Like
No.
from track to track, you just run the same gear across the board?
I just run the same
with
gear.
The same gear. Just do you have a training bike, or do you train with the bike you race with?
I train with the bike I race with. Ideally, I want to have a training bike built up so I could put a harder gear on that just for sprints and stuff like that, because that would be beneficial.
Right.
But most of the time I just train on the bike that
So
I have.
you buy a whole other bike just to put a different gear on instead of taking the bike you have and swapping gears?
I mean, it's used for different
that's special right
purposes.
there.
Like a lot of the USA's team and a lot of like the pro riders, they bring 2 bikes to a lot of races.
Definitely.
So that would be useful to have.
Yeah,
just
I
in
get it.
case, like, let's say, like, oh, I just tacoed my wheel, but like I'm okay. It's like, oh, I have another wheel.
Right.
Or a whole other bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Do you have any travel horror stories of like them getting your bike to you in time, or you watching them toss your bike into the back, like just bam?
I mean, I think we've all seen our bikes getting tossed and just like it broke a little piece of your soul. It's
Right,
never fun
right.
to see, but I mean, I think I have just like normal travel horror stories, but nothing where it's like my bike didn't show up and I didn't get a race. Like I've been pretty lucky in terms of that. Chile was hard. Chile was like 42 hours for me to get home, but
Oh, jeez.
that was somehow with like no extra delays. That was just like how it was.
Was
Think about
it
that.
Rain Langford that had his bike stolen?
Yep.
It was, right? And he
Yep.
was yeah. That was terrible. Like the
I think
stolen
it was
race
like
Like
a day or
stolen
two
out of the
before.
airport?
No,
Or
it
just
was like right. It was right before like the national, right? Like he was down there practicing.
he had got
He
his
went to
bike
the
stolen and he had to
store,
build
yeah.
another bike like for the race. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope they build him the same exact bike, man.
Right. He still
I
did
know
pretty
how
well.
just a little change could just throw everything off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so scary. I never leave my bike out like anywhere, especially living in Houston. I mean, living in California was kind of more similar, but downtown Houston's definitely I gotta be more careful.
Right. Right. That's how we always like. All right, are you gonna be at the tent? Because I don't want to leave my bike. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be here. Then you walk off, go get a hot dog, come back, and nobody's at the tent. And you're like,
Yeah. Or it's like the Grand's Pit. It's always like you can't leave your bikes at the Grand's Pit. You always gotta make sure you got someone there.
Yep. That's
I've heard so many
crazy, right?
stories of people getting their bikes stolen just right out of their pits. It's crazy.
I mean, people had their whole trailer stolen, like, you know, with their whole team's bikes and uniforms and
Yeah, I saw
everything.
that one.
That's yeah.
So scary. It's crazy.
When it comes to racing, have you ever do you study film, like as in how others ride, or watch film of yourself to see how you ride and how you can improve?
Yeah, I do. I think it's really important too because there's a lot of things that you can't just feel. Like a lot of times it is a lot about feeling. You could feel like, you know, when you did a good gate, you know, when you did like when you jumped that and you're like, oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
But like, especially when you do it bad, it's really important to just see what you did so that you don't do it again. And I think it's also useful to like, let's say you get in the gate with someone who's like your top competition and they pull, and it's like, you got to get a compare of like, oh, they did this and they got a bike length. And then I did this and I got a bike length on them. Like, it's really important just to see like where you could get those little gains, and you could really only see that on film. So,
Right.
So what about the scores timing system? I'm sure you use that. Do you like document everything, your starts, your first straights, or I know some people, they have like a log of everything from day to day, from like hour to hour, everything they do to train, just so they could compare it to the, you know, previous times.
I do sometimes, but I'm not super like, oh my gosh about it. It's just because like I think it's more important. And like, this is something my coach talked to me a lot about. It's like the time you get your PB on that day is not really that valuable. What you want to see is that every effort you did that day was really close together. And it's like, because every time you show up to the track, like, especially in Houston, it's windy every day here and it's a different direction every day. So it's like, I'm never going to show up to the track and be like, yeah, I could definitely compare my first straight times to last week. Like, it's just not like important. Like it doesn't really mean anything. And I think it's kind of the same thing. Like a lot of people who are like comparing lap times and during racing, like, yes, it's valuable to see and just be like, oh, this person dropped like a really, really fast lap. Let me see what they did differently. But I think the people who are just like looking at it so much, it's like every race is so different that it's like, it's impossible to just be like, oh, this lap was so terrible because I got like a second slower. And it's like, yeah, it was a terrible lap, but you got a second slower because you passed 4 people in a corner. So you didn't have as much speed and didn't have as much energy, but that was such a good race. So I think it's very useful and I think it's very important, but I just think you can't take it too seriously.
I'd probably like wait 6 months and then look at my times and maybe wait another 6 months just to see how like the progress is, you know, because like you said, when it's that close, it's just hard to tell and it doesn't even really matter, you know.
Yeah. But when I'm back at home, my coach is like, he does like timing like once a month. So it's just like, so you could just kind of see. And it's just like, we just want to make sure that everything's going in the right direction. You're not like going backwards.
I get it.
Right. How do you feel that you made it to your pro year and Elise isn't there? Are you bummed or are you just excited? Like the gate's open or?
I mean, I'm super excited for her. I think that's such a cool thing that she was able to have an outstanding career. And I think she's still going to try and keep going, so, I mean, I think I'm probably going to be able to race her at some point. I hope so. That would be so cool. I don't think I didn't think too much about it. I think it's more of an opportunity for the more seasoned pros. I'm not going into this being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the number one pro. Like, I'm probably I want to. That's the goal, but I'm not going into this of like that's gonna happen. That's what I'm shooting for. So I think for me, it would just be really cool to race her because obviously she's amazing. But I'm really happy for what she's doing. So I'm excited. excited for
baby. Every time she races, I want her to get beat. Not because I don't like her. It's just because when you dominate the sport so long, and like she has, I always want that up and comer to come in and just take the spot. That's just how I am in every sport. It's just how I am.
Yeah, I was kind of like that too when Felicia first, I think it was 2019, first came on the scene. It was like, oh my gosh, here comes somebody who's coming and swinging. And I was cheering for Felicia, but now it's just how impressive it is that Elise is able to keep doing this at 32, 33 years old. It's just I can't not cheer for her because that's just so cool.
Right. And be that competitive too. That is
cool.
Yeah. And be able to just whip everyone's butt. And it's before Elise, there was before Elise and Mariana, there wasn't really a lot of women racing to that age really at all. So
right.
And how old is Mariana?
Mariana and Elise are the same age.
Oh, are they? All right. For some reason, I thought Mariana was a little older.
Yeah, imagine being in that UCI class when you were 13.
Right.
So it's funny. I was watching some. I think it was Grands from 8 years ago, right? So I guess it was it was 8 years ago. I guess it was I forgot what it was. It was 16, I guess, 2016. So anyway, I'm looking at some, they're running the names in the NAG 5 challenge. It's all the pros we know now, but when they were kids, it was just the coolest thing. And they were all lined up, and it's it was just the coolest thing to see.
Yeah, they're all the same age. A lot of the new generation of I mean, I guess they're not even the new generation. They're kind of the seasoned generation now of pros, but Lexi, Peyton, Molly, or I think Molly might be a little younger, but Mackenzie, they're all the same age, and it's so cool.
So it's really cool to see you guys at 16, then 17 to 20, and then transition to the pros. It's really fun to watch them.
Yeah, well, I think just the fact that they grew up racing each other at such a high level, I think that's a lot of what helped them be successful in the pro class. So,
yep.
What was your light switch to want to go ahead and go pro?
When I was younger, that was the goal.
As in
this year I'm going pro.
This season.
I was kind of debating going pro last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of finished off the season and I was I don't think I'm ready. I didn't finish off season and I'm oh, I have nothing left to gain from amateur racing. I still feel I had a lot of things to learn and a lot of things I needed to get better at before I just threw myself into the pro class. I knew I had to get better on Supercross. I knew I had to get more confident on Supercross and just get a little bit more adjusted and refine my racing a little more. Mm-hmm. So I was okay, I'm going to stay amateur for another year. And then I got to go pro. So I kind of knew all last year that it was my last amateur season.
Okay.
So you're the new person on the scene, right? As far as the pros, right?
Yeah, I think I might be the only woman rookie pro this year.
Really? So you get into staging. Are the other girls welcoming you? Are they oh, congratulations, welcome? Are they giving you the cold shoulder? A little of both?
Oh, all the pro girls are super nice. They're all amazing. I remember Saturday in Rock Hill, I think I screamed across the line in my semi because I made the main. And immediately Lexi and Carly turned around. They're oh my gosh, congratulations. Because they knew it was my first pro main. and like they're all so sweet and so amazing. It just makes racing a lot of fun because it's like, and we all know we all have the switch of like, yes, we're gonna be super fun and we're gonna be super nice behind the gate, and then we're gonna be super mean to each other on the track, and then afterwards we're all gonna give each other a big hug.
Right?
Like,
it's all love. It's all love at the end of the day.
I think with the guys it's a little different though, but yeah.
yeah, I think
cool.
the guys can be a little more serious, but the girl, like the pro girls, are so much fun.
That's cool.
What would you tell your younger self if you were doing it all over again?
I would tell myself to start manual and jumping more and sooner. So, and I would tell myself to ride flats a little more.
Right. Shannon, you got anything else?
No, I think we need to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming through and speaking to us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You guys as well.
And we'll be rooting for you. We will be paying attention to what you're doing. And
when is your guys' next race?
So I wanted to do Bakersfield, but I think I have a lot. I'm trying to figure everything out with school, so I'll be able to go. But that's still it's more up in the air than it should be, considering I did leave in like 5 days. But so either Bakersfield or national champs in Tulsa. So we'll see.
There we go. So, all right. Well, thank you for your time. And
sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, you guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching another episode of Real BMX Racing, the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major platforms. Don't forget to check out the website, realbmxracing.com.